reach consensus or something like that.
Well, consensus that would probably take forever. Oh, yeah, we got a jungle world.
Yeah, see, this is what I was talking about. Like you're making it feels like you've teleported to this thing, but in reality,
it's the same map. Just move forward.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, you feel like you're in a whole different space, and you're not.
So, would you not want to do a large studio? You want to work for a large studio?
I think it would be a good experience. I think there'd be a lot to learn there. Other than that, I don't know.
Anything particular you don't like about large studios?
They seem to move kind of slowly.
That's definitely true. And they tend to, or at least the ones in Canada lately, tend to outsource things too. The wrong things, like Andromeda spaces.
I was gonna say, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I was looking very much forward to Andromeda, but was that BioWare Montreal?
I believe so, and I had heard that they had outsourced to another studio like overseas, and that's kind of what they came back with. But yeah, I'd imagine too. Like another thing, I think those big studios face that even not so much Blizzard, but Activision, like in churning out a game too.
Right.
That things are slow, but then you get things that are on the annual release, like the sports games or the Call of Duties or the Assassin's Creed every like 3-4 months, something like that.
Is that something that appeals to you or not appeal to you? The idea of working on an IP with consistency.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd like that. I like changing gears every so often. I think
like a free spirit, like a wanderer.
Yeah, exactly. No, but actually though,
I just want to just do my games and disappear for a bit. Come out of the shadows with my pipe and come back and make another one.
Something like that. Yeah.
Have you considered going down the road of, we've mentioned it a couple times, but just apps? Like it seems like an easier thing to do. And it has a much more commercially viable instant market.
What do you mean by apps?
I mean like whatever, like little iPhone games and like iPhone and Android type stuff, where it's a game, but like someone's come up with like things like Flappy Bird,
right?
That some guy made in like an afternoon,
right?
That end up making millions of dollars versus. You're right that if you make something great in Unity, you're taking this to go to Steam with it,
right? And
then you're competing with this whole marketplace that is a much more sophisticated market, and it's hard to get over that noise. Whereas a lot of these smaller apps, the development cycle is a lot shorter. You can do it on your own,
right? And
you have instant access to these huge markets.
Yeah, I mean, so I'd realistically be if I was to make a mobile game, essentially, I'd probably use Unity to do it. However, there's a lot more noise in the mobile market.
Well, that's true.
That said, one thing I've always kind of wanted to do is make kind of like a board game style game where it's like a small social fun game.
Yeah,
that's an app. I don't really have any more concrete. That's just a very vague idea.
Like Jack in the Box kind of.
Yeah, but like
something like a coup or
wacky, chaotic social fun would be like the driving force. Yeah, thanks.
That would actually be
wacky, chaotic, social fun.
Yeah.
Damn, I shouldn't have said that out loud.
I think that actually makes sense. When I get together with people, we either play some of those simple card games like coup or Merlin or whatever it is. And things like Jackbox, but it would make sense if people could just get on their phone that you're on whatever, the evil team, or you're the spy, or you're the dolphin, or whatever it is in that game.
I think there's less noise there's less competition kind of in that style game, and it would also give me a lot of room to do some creative stuff design-wise.
Yeah, that would definitely be interesting. Do you find, like, in addition to, like we mentioned, the big studios or not, how important is it to you to be the one that's like coming up with the idea? Like, these have been your concepts basically, except for like, say, the ESChamp mod.
Right.
So when you worked on that, where it wasn't necessarily all your ideas, or probably most of it wasn't, how do you find putting in the work on something that's your baby versus working collaboration where it's not your idea?
It really depends on what the other idea is. If it's something that like I understand and like appreciate the idea, like Axiom, yeah, I think making StarCraft more accessible, that's definitely something I want to exist and something I would feel good working on and find it engaging and interesting. If you asked me to make a like FIFA game, I would not do it because I wouldn't be able to motivate myself to do that, right? So it really, I have no problem working with people smarter than me and who have better ideas than I do, as long as I agree with them, essentially.
That sounds right. Yeah.
So do you see yourself more as like a creative artist, less a commercial artist in that regard then? Or game developer? Or do you even consider yourself an artist?
I'm not. I prefer. So my official title is contract game designer. And
that's what's on paper and on your card.
Yeah.
But
that's what I consider myself.
Do you consider yourself an artist at all?
Sure, maybe. I don't. I feel like I'm not. I definitely haven't tried to make like a game with the intention of being artistic. ARK Star's first intention was to be commercially successful, not to try to make players feel something in particular or have some sort of revelation or something while playing it.
Right.
I really like those kinds of games that make you really feel something. I think that's a really interesting place that games are going and should explore, and something I would like to. Not something I've really done though.
So actually on that topic, you've mentioned Bastion, Transistor, like those are games that definitely do make you feel something. Other than those, what type of games do you play that are your inspiration, like for things, or even aren't your inspiration but you love playing them anyway?
I don't know about inspiration wise. I mean, I definitely play a lot of games, not as much as I used to. Right now I'm playing Frostpunk.
Do you take inspiration from like other media then? Television, movies, books?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to. I think you've got to be always on the lookout for ideas and inspiration wherever you can find it.
Is there a particular book or movie or television show that comes to your mind?
No.
Nope. No. It makes sense to me. Like when you said, I wouldn't have expected you to say Super Mario or RPG or whatever for this, but it makes sense once you do say it. As something, it kind of does have there's a nostalgia to the tactics game style. A lot of people played them, and I mean, they're still around, but there's definitely something to that as you take a genre and kind of improve on it. Is there anything in this game that you feel that you've really either innovated on, or a system that you've added, or something that you've always felt was missing either from that type of game, or that you're particularly proud of adding into this?
I think that's a good question. There aren't even really games you can instantly compare ARK Star to. It's not like XCOM, but it's a tactics game. It's not like Final Fantasy Tactics. There's a lot of it's similar to a number of games that are not similar to each other. If that sentence makes sense.
Yeah.
And so I guess it's kind of a mesh of a few things instead
of... Is it the mesh that you're kind of proud of then?
Yeah, I think so. I think I was able to, and to do that on top of StarCraft.
Right, and merging all these elements.
Makes sense in the context of StarCraft is something I'm proud of.
Did you find it to be easier to design because of the restrictions, versus having an open canvas?
I mean, it's really nice to have all of this lore that I can draw upon and not have to be like, oh, well, I also have to write like 500 pages of story and make sure the game is consistent with. So that's nice.
I know like some people will say that when you design with, or when you have to do design with guidelines and restrictions, it helps the creative process rather than if you have an open canvas, because there's just a lot of free space and you end up just kind of like sprawling in terms of your product or your thing, because there's just so many options.
Right. Yeah, that limitations can drive innovation.
Yes, that's the word. That's what I was trying to look for.
And yeah, no, I've definitely found that to be true. Largely in making anything with the StarCraft editor is working within and knowing like just how to use the limitations of the engine to your advantage, and like just how far you can push that.
Well, I wonder, and I think about it, like, could you have made, like, I know you ran out of time, but could you see yourself doing a sequel to this?
That's an idea like I'd honestly love to do. I have probably in my head like enough story for kind of 2 to 3 additional episodes of similar length and content. Well, probably each bigger. Whether or not I'll have the chance to actually make those is pretty up in the air.
Because of time or will to do, money,
or just wanting to
or
get
all
on
of
to the
those
next
things.
thing.
Like there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of factors going on there.
You mentioned, like, I know we touched a bit on the whole creative process. I'm really kind of curious to know, like, when you come up with stories, like, I think about storytelling and making stories and like doing stories in general. But for you, when you were coming up with a story, either ARK or any of your games,
Sure.
Did you have like a process? Did you go and like take a retreat into the woods and start taking your pen and start scribbling on tree bark, and then the story came out? Or did you just like, this sounds kind of cool? Like, is there a process to making a story for a game, or even like a game like this?
So, I mean, for this, it was I guess easy for me because I had a lot of time to come up with a story. So if I have to spend like a week building an inventory system and a week building a talent tree and things like all of these technical things, while I'm doing that, I can spend 8 hours during the day doing that, and I'll have, ideas while I'm making lunch or.
Or do you like jot it down somewhere? Oh my god! You like
I'm just
sandwich?
like, yeah, it'd be like it'd be cool if we had a character with a scythe. It's like some like that, and just like, yeah, no, that should be in the game. And then like over months of just getting the groundwork on the technical stuff for the game, I now have all these story ideas and can spend some time weaving them together. And then when I get stuck, I go to a bar with a pen and a pen. and I figure it out.
Yeah. And that's how that works out.
Yeah.
So when you said you were given a lot of time, was this done in sort of like in my mind, I think of like book publishing. Like Blizzard's like, all right, here is an advance on this game. We need something in 2 years. We'll come check on you, kind of thing. Or was it more like, like, were you able to work on this kind of full time because you had the resources, like a set budget or whatever, or was it more like, you got to figure it out, my friend, and we'll meet in the middle?
It got done. Yeah, I might just leave that one at that.
Okay, is it more closer to being like a book publisher, like writing a book, or was it more close to like being, an indie developer?
I felt very much like an indie developer.
All right, I think that's a good indication, without saying more than that.
Yeah. With Blizzard, you never know what you're allowed to say.
Well, of course, but
they have it in their mind what you're allowed to say, and they never tell you.
Nope, you got kind of like, am I allowed to say this? And Blizzard's like, oh, is it?
Try it. Try it.
What does your contract say? What does your contract say? What does legal say? Right. So, okay. But I was hoping you would, or if you had like a shaman life, that would have been kind of like, you retreat and you're just designing this game. But that begs the question of, did it get lonely?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, no, because I spent literally thousands of hours in my room by myself making this game. And usually if you're working for a studio, you at least see other people on a daily basis. And that wasn't always the case. Did
you at least have Twitch open or something next to you? No streamers?
No. Netflix.
Right.
Depending on what I was doing. It wasn't hard code.
Yeah. Did you ever go full stir crazy?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's actually an interesting question that you kind of alluded to. Yeah. How much of the design for this is pen and paper or conceptual design versus how much of this is or like coding?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of time was spent on both. The bottleneck of productivity is being able to implement it. And that's definitely like what it came down to, was how long it took to build things and build tools to make building things faster, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Is there stuff that you encountered like where you're like had an idea, then you go to, or maybe you realize right away, but you go to do it and you realize that is a great idea. If I had 35 more people, we could do that tomorrow.
Yeah, no, all the time, especially with like a lot of art ideas. I had to be very choosy with kind of what kind of custom models I was able to put in the game, which really weren't a lot, but it's basically just like the main character of the final boss.
I don't know if he's gonna make it in.
No, definitely not.
This is a hard fight.
That one took me a couple times too.
Is there? Can you tell me about a time where you were almost close to quitting?
No, I was never.
You were just ready to power it through.
Yeah, it was never, that didn't enter my head once to quit.
Anytime you got like stuck on anything, or you couldn't.
No problem was just like too big to overcome, obviously, because it was made. It's here.
Right.
Yeah. And also, I mean, I sunk so much time and energy into it that like, why would you ever quit?
Some people might quit because like frustration or like things taking longer than initially expected, or over budget. Like, was there a budget for you? Like, did you budget either your own time, your own resources?
Not really. No.
Just like
maybe
until it's done.
Maybe I should have. Yeah. That might have been smart, but it finished, and I'm proud of it.
Well, that's good. Like, it's one of those. It's a good like resume builder, or even like, little residual income kind of things that might be, tomorrow. Oh, we died again. Tomorrow, 20 people buys the game, and you're like, oh, that was a nice little bonus kind of thing. So, if you never had the urge to quit, did you ever have to have? Because if you're working by yourself, there's no way you like. Or maybe there is a way, but I feel like you wouldn't want to have things done in a vacuum with your own ideas and stuff like that. So was there some way to, elicit feedback with your ideas so you didn't sound like you're more like aggrandizing your own ego? Like, how did you shape it to what it was so it wasn't just like a homage to Daniel?
Right. I mean, in a lot of ways, it really is, but
that's fine.
That is fine. Magnus open.
I definitely sought feedback from the testers I had throughout the course of development. And I mean, I really took their feedback to heart, especially early on when it wasn't really starting from much. Yeah.
Like, did you try to recreate that team environment in other ways? Not really. Would you do it? Would you do the same way going again?
Ideally, I would work with a team in some capacity moving forward.
But like, if you were by yourself,
yeah. If
that's what you're kind of right now, you're just
essentially
freelance Ronin.
Yes.
It's like game developer Ronin traveling from city to city developing games. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd convince somebody else to work with me or for me or something like that.
Just snag them.
Yeah, just be like, you're mine now. Make art.
Was there anything that came out in early testing or early feedback processes that you went completely back to the drawing board with, or altered drastically?
I don't think so. I mean, the game had a pretty strong, solid starting concept, at least, and nothing I don't think changed immensely from the start. Maybe it should have. Maybe I should have gotten more feedback. But
the day that you did launch, when you launched it?
Yeah.
Where were you?
It was here.
Like, where were you?
In my apartment.
Were you nervous? Like, what was like?
Yeah.
Describe me that day when you launched it. Describe me launch day.
Oh man. Okay. Well, I think I legitimately had a panic attack when the bug reports started coming in after it was live. and just like things I didn't think to test, because why would you test like online? Things like pretty simple things actually, like because I'd done pretty much all of my testing offline, right? Because it's a single player game. There's no networking. There's no, you know, in theory latency shouldn't be an issue. But it turns out it was. Oh. It turns out there were, I guess I didn't understand some quirks of the engine and Battle.net and their interactions. Where basically you could, if you press keys enough, you could actually like send multiple input commands before the first one was registered, which doesn't happen offline, and that caused some pretty serious issues for me. Yeah.
So I imagine that was like all hands on deck. Well, your two hands.
My two hands on deck.
Your two hands on deck.
Both hands on.
Both hands on deck, and you worked. How long did it get you to get this game back?
That panic attack pretty much lasted for a week until things were like back to a good level. Well, okay, it was 4 days and then 2 days. So there was 4 days, and I thought it was fine. And then I was like, oh, okay, I fixed everything. I pushed the patch. Everything's good now. I can finally breathe.
Do you have to wait for the Blizzard patches?
No. So I can patch it myself. I was like, everything's fine. I can breathe. And I went out with some friends to celebrate. We went to what's that, like, theme park that's like North
Canada Wonderland.
Yeah, we go to Wonderland for the day, and then
that's a good distressor.
Right, it was great. And then I came back that night to all of these really, really bad bug reports from the patch I put out. That like it fixed a lot of things, but really, really, really broke everything else.
So when you say came back, does that mean you left your phone at home? Like, how did you like I'm surprised you got like the Sky Bat, and you're just like, no.
Oh, well, okay, so that's it. Is nobody sent an email. Like, and I have a bug report email. I have a Discord where people can submit bugs. Nobody did that.
Being like the customers or like Blizzard?
The customers.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Blizzard didn't really notice either, but. So what people were doing was instead just writing reviews like this game doesn't work at all, don't waste your money. Okay. Which, I mean, they were right. You shouldn't. Well, the game is completely broken. That's you're correct. But I didn't know because nobody emailed me. So.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then it was 2 more intense days of fixing that, and then things.
What an interesting way to like let you know. Like, this game's crap. Don't buy it.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, that was a fun day. Let me check my reviews. Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh god, no.
It's funny because it would almost never even occur to me to send a bug report to the developer, and you wouldn't in any. Like if I bought a game on Steam and it didn't work, right? I wouldn't tell the developer. I'd write a review. Yeah. But I guess that's exactly what maybe you shouldn't do. But that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, ARK was basically early access for the first week.
Yeah.
Do you ever get any refunds?
That is something that Blizzard deals with, and not me.
Yeah. Did they do any like QA of this, or did they test it at all?
I'm not sure I can. I mean,
did it like claw back your money? Like, all right.
The only way that's an unanswerable question is if the answer was no.
Let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
Blizzard wanted me and Taya to really own our games and to be responsible for it.
Right.
And for their success or failure to really depend on us as developers.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That makes sense.
See, he had the advantage. Taya in this had the advantage of his game has been running for 6 years.
So like it's been like tested the crap out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
So that would be. I wonder if Desert Strike had any similar troubles like.
They must have. Well, I remember like playing. Because it's had many versions on the arcade, Desert Strike has. And there were definitely ones with bugs. There were ones that there's like a nuke mechanic in the game, and when you first got into the game, you could hit claim, like they called them booms, claim boom, and if you just spammed it, you could get like 10 of them right away. And like there were some things like that needs to be done. But again, it was all free then, so it didn't matter. But yeah, and that game went through a lot of iterations.
But no way I know you made a really good game. I've been talking to Tara for like the last 20 minutes, and he hasn't looked back. He hasn't looked once.
Because he's behind on this level, man.
He hasn't looked once at the Discord chat to see how many cameras. He's just really stuck in the game. So that's why I know it's like a really fun. He doesn't even hear now. He's just
he's zoned in. He turned up the game music like crazy. So listen to that same way.
Feels good, man.
He's just like, he's so determined to finish his level that
that's how it gets you.
He's really sunk in it. So yeah, I'm totally telling him directions for what we're doing next week.
Yeah.
So
how do you test to get, like, this might have been easier because it is single player, but how do you test the game without just publishing it? Like if it was a multiplayer game in particular.
Right. So with multiplayer, if you were developing it in secret, you would basically have to publish it privately, and every time you wanted to test, you would have to host the lobby for it and invite your testers manually.
Okay.
See, and I could just send the files directly to my I'd put it on Google Drive or something, and my testers would just download it from there. And so that's why all of my testing was offline and created some serious issues for me later.
Yeah, that's really interesting to hear the difference. Something that you would not think is a factor.
Yeah.
Becoming the main problem. Are there any concepts like floating around in your head that are like game ideas that you really want to do at some point?
Yeah, definitely. Not.
Can you tell us?
Not necessarily what you want to say.
You've gotta wait and see.
The NDA. Yeah. You didn't sign any.
No, not just like I'm not gonna announce some amazing new game project here. No offense.
but you've got I guess I didn't expect you to tell us at all, but like there must be stuff that you're like, because I do in my own, not games, but like your own stuff, you're always like, there's something I really want to do if I get the time to do this or whatever. So I'm sure you've had stuff almost since you were a kid that you want to make.
That's good.
Like when I was 7, I used to like get paper and design Mega Man levels.
Oh yeah,
because like kids do that stuff. I would never have the patience to code anything.
I hear the horror stories of game designers. Yeah. It's just like such a turn off for me. The idea of the 90-hour.
It's my brother does computer animation for like movies and shows and stuff. So he knows a lot of people that do the animation for games. He's like, no, never. No matter how much they pay me, what I do, graphics for a game.
Yeah, okay, that would make a lot of sense then.
Yeah.
So for you, I guess since you're not gonna tell us your secret, like ask you like, what's kind of like your next step?
I don't know. It's open seas. That doesn't make sense.
Like
do whatever.
Yeah, there's options ahead of me, and it's not clear what those are going to be.
But you're going to be a game designer. Yeah. Because that felt like in the beginning of this when we were talking, it almost felt like you were like, this was kind of like a maybe come and see, we'll test and see if game designing works for me. So like, we're 100% your game designer. You're for hire, like your.
Was your schooling actually in this, or because you mentioned you got to university, but
not even a little bit.
Yeah,
no, I have a degree in forensic anthropology.
Nice.
Makes sense. So that's a common reaction.
It like seems it's like so far removed from the idea of game design.
Yeah.
So you should make Civilization 7.
Well, not Civilization, but the same thing. But
but you start in the future and you have to dig backwards.
It's forensics. It's like digging up skeletons.
Yeah.
Like but like people that were murdered.
Oh.
It's not. It's not like ancient cultures. It's not like anthropology.
Okay.
It's like
I heard the anthropology part.
Yeah.
I'm like I knew it would be something like that, but I thought it would be on like Tutankhamun's mummy.
No, it's like if a hiker goes missing. The guy that finds him. Yeah.
Okay.
Why didn't you do that?
That's different then. That would also
required more schooling.
Yeah.
So wait, it actually just dawned on me because I'm just so fascinated with the idea of you digging up like dead bodies, like CSI stuff. But oh man, I'm crying a little bit. But you didn't take anything schooling wise for game design. Would you recommend somebody right now who's watching is like, I want to design games? Should they take schooling, or you just like, nah, man?
I would say take schooling, just probably not in game design and probably not in forensic anthropology. If anyone really wanted to get into games,
there's a middle ground.
There's yeah,
Sure.
I mean, there's a few ways you can take it. Computer science is a really obvious degree, and also makes yourself incredibly useful if you decide you don't actually want to go into games.
Right.
Because I mean, a lot of people don't know until they get there, and they're like, "Oh, you know what? No, this actually sucks." That's probably what I would recommend.
Okay, so how did you? Maybe it's without sounding too rude or correct, how did you get this far without because you're paid. You're paid to make games.
I am now,
but you don't have any formal schooling. You
right.
Don't have. So, is it more of your projects that are the thing? Like, just help me kind of get to that. How did you get from this guy with a kind of to yeah?
I mean, I think
the motion.
Right. No, I think really I just got lucky, consistently lucky. Yeah.
Was there?
And persistence.
What was your big break then?
Probably winning the 2015 contest.
I mean, for you to get paid for gigs, was that your thing? Was that the thing that you're like, oh, I made this, now pay me?
Yeah, pretty much. That was it, and that's when I started thinking about actually turning it into a career and making money from it. Yeah.
What's the first thing that you made?
The very first thing that I made?
Yeah.
In StarCraft 2, the very first thing I made in StarCraft 2 is I tried to make this is Wings of Liberty beta.
Wait, so your whole career kind of starts with StarCraft?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I tried to make if you remember the use map setting StarCraft game, The Thing, where one person's infected and you have to try to figure out who it is.
StarCraft 2 or StarCraft?
StarCraft 1 had a use map settings game like this.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to make one of those with a third person camera, and there was also waves of zombies that attacked at night. It wasn't ever actually playable in any shape or form, but I spent a long time trying to make that. And then after first thing I actually published was right out the year after Wings of Liberty launched, Blizzard had an arcade contest, and I made a turn-based RPG, just turn-based RPG called Facility 17. That was very heavily inspired / ripped off literal exact scenes from Final Fantasy VII.
Was it Asian game, Chinese game?
What?
I just think of when I think of a game that's almost frame by frame of another game, I always think
no, it was
a 10-cent game, mobile game.
It was it was very tongue in cheek and aware of itself, which is something I like to inject into my games. And didn't win that contest, but H for the Husky made a video of Facility 17 when it first came out and got 100,000 views.
Oh.
8 years ago, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. Maybe I should continue doing this as a hobby.
As a hobby. You're just that was your next step.
Yeah.
As a hobby.
Yeah.
Never I'm gonna make money out of this.
No, it was cool.
But you do now, you survive off of it.
Now, yeah.
Oh, he's alive.
I am here.
Yeah. If he wasn't, we would need a forensic anthropologist.
Dig up his career.
Yeah.
He's lost in the woods.
Oh man.
But you're not. You're obviously. I would like to, from my perspective, and from I imagine many others, fairly successful. I think it's a very successful story to go from, this is not what I want to do. Maybe kind of do. I don't know if I want to do. To doing it.
Yeah.
Winning a contest or a prize, making money, and then turning it into a full-fledged career. I actually don't think I can think of any modders that come to my mind that have made that modding, not just the modding, but made a real career. Not to say modding is a real career, but a real career.
Yeah, but it's I mean, not really.
I mean, the lead designers of both League of Legends and Dota 2 came from Warcraft 3 modding.
That's true. Ice Frog.
Yeah.
I don't know who the League of Legends guy is, but
I think it starts with a Z. Yeah, I don't know.
Zeke.
Definitely not
Zod.
that.
Doesn't
Nope.
matter.
Nope.
So, but yeah, that's true. Would you recommend somebody out there right now who wants to be a designer to do modding?
Only if they aren't sure how much they want to do it and just want to dip their feet in. If they're 100% like, I want to make games, then go take a course on Unity.
Oh, go straight to Unity?
Yeah.
Is that because Unity is more flexible?
Yes, it's increasingly easy to learn. There's so very much documentation on like how to use it and how to do that one specific thing you want to do. There's like literally how to just remake Super Mario in Unity. There's hundreds of those tutorials out there. So it's really easy to teach yourself, and it's a very marketable skill.
And I think so. As we're getting close to wrapping up, but I think I wanted to know, like, if you were to go back 3 years to yourself before you started this, what advice would you give yourself?
Ooh, that's a really good question that I've never thought about.
We tried to do that here.
Probably to buy cryptocurrency.
It's definitely some good advice. Yeah, take every computer that you're coding on and get it to mine.
Stop this modding thing. Turn your computer into a crypto. And it's like, did we even really know crypto back then? I feel like it was just like whispers.
Yeah,
You like the common folk.
No, yeah,
the common folk
not
didn't
so
know
much.
what crypto was. I totally thought it was like a fad at the time.
I mean, it still is. It's just the long one.
But not like Pogs kind of fad.
Yeah, not quite like that. But more like
or for Beanie Babies.
Yeah, it's the Beanie Babies that was promised that actually was worth a lot of money later.
It's probably closer to Magic Prince.
Cryptocurrencies? Yeah, I can see crypto being closer to Magic Prince. Than to maybe to Pogs or
something like that.
Furbies.
Oh,
there's
man.
Crypto Kitties.
Yeah.
Right, Crypto Kitties.
Yeah.
So you take your Ethereum and you play a game with your Ethereum and you breed cats.
But it's a dumb game.
It's a very dumb game.
It would work if it was like a slightly smarter game.
Yeah.
I think it would completely work.
I can't believe this is a real
It's
thing.
a real
Yeah,
thing.
this is a super real
People
thing.
originally, when it first came out, people thought like, oh, definitely people are going to play this, and it became Beanie Baby-ish. That people were literally spending hundreds of thousands of dollars for a first generation kitty,
Right.
and it's literally a cartoon picture of a cat.
You're trading JPEGs, yeah.
Okay. On that note, absolutely. Thank you so much, Daniel. I think what is like, as we get ready to send off, what is like the last thing you want to tell people out there in terms of wrap up?
Go buy my game and tell all of your friends to buy my game.
Yep.
Where can we find your game, or is there like the best way to find your products or stuff? Or
Yeah, so it's in StarCraft 2, you log in, you go to custom games, or maybe it's arcade, and you hit the premium tab, and it's right there, and it's shiny.
Purple.
And it's purple.
how much is it?
It is $5 US, $6.50 Canadian.
To you Canadians out there, good luck.
Yeah.
All right, so that's been this episode. Dave, Endersword, where can they find you?
Find me at Endersword.
And here.
And here. Just here.
Always here.
Yeah.
And for you guys here, you can follow the show at ESChamp on the Twitter. Everything's on Instagram because it's ESChampGG, because ERICChamp. One day I will get it back from you, ERICChamp. Until that time, Monday we will be interviewing the director of Game Changers, the documentary with MMA and MC that was featured at Valencia. No, yes.
Austin.
I don't know. Valencia's coming out.
Yeah.
Austin. I watched it actually. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to see if I can send it to you. It has like white marks in there.
Okay.
But really good. So that's been for this episode. Daniel, thank you so much for being on the show.
It's been a lot of fun.
Appreciate it. For the rest of us here at ESChamp and Inside the Champ, we'll see you guys next time. Woo!